Hey, you. Yeah, just you. So, here's a little tidbit of information that I think will help you as well as myself by sharing. And this one's a little bit harder to swallow, but we all need to swallow it. Because it's a curiosity question that I think will actually change a lot in your life. So what happens when you take full responsibility of your life? Because honestly, most people are really afraid to commit to anything because they already know that they're going to break their commitment. This internal fear is the challenge, really. Yet, more external challenge just keeps on coming. Because, honestly, the society and the systems are set up to work against you. If you don't make a definite decision about what you're going to do, make it clear, and then write it everywhere you can, or make that message as revealing to yourself as often as you can by writing it on a piece of paper and sticking it to somewhere where you can see it every day. Because honestly, you'll lose sight of it. It won't just happen for you. Because whenever you're left feeling lethargic or unconscious and going back to your old bad habits, you'll be swayed by external conditions like other YouTube channels or maybe podcasts or audiobooks that you consume. However, when you make a decision, things will start to shift, regardless of the absolute craziness that's going on around you. You'll get momentum by being clear. Stuff will start happening, but only when you seriously take it as serious as possible. Come heck or high water. Alright, I'll just say it. Come hell or high water. So, I've had to do some deep reflecting, and honestly, it comes down to scratching my own itch in the only way I know how, and that's by using these realities that exist everywhere. Number one, indecision is potentially your greatest threat. Seriously, not being certain and clear, it threatens all of us, so it's not just you. Number two is that most people are just drifting. They're going from side to side, which means they haven't really taken command of their mind or their life. Drifting is when you let external circumstances determine where you want to go in life. Just before any substantial breakthroughs, you will experience darkness and defeat. When you take control of your mind, though, you will realize the quality of your thinking reflects your current potential. Hey friends, so let me ask you real quick. Are you someone who's trying to get more visibility? Who's trying to be in front of the crowd? Well, if that's you, I want to let you know that first of all, you're not alone. Second of all, if you want to get on more podcasts, or ones that actually scratch your own itch, meaning maybe you have a book, or a business, or maybe you do speaking, or if you don't yet do speaking, maybe you can, and maybe you'd love to. Well, I put something together for you, and in this little giveaway, I'm going to show you how to pitch yourself for podcasts and how to actually be professional when you show up so you can be the next authority in your niche, so you can start scratching your own itch. I know what it's like to build something, create something, and then there just be crickets. No one wants that. You need to be seen. You need to be heard because you have a message to share, a message that is worthy of hearing. Podcasts nowadays, more than ever, are being consumed by people. And guess who's actually learning the knowledge that's being shared? It's podcast listeners. It gives you a license to be an authority in whatever area you really dream of being an authority in. So if this at all starts to give you a little itch to scratch, just email Logan at logantylernelson.com. Again, that's Logan at logantylernelson.com. In this book I read by Napoleon Hill, you've probably heard of him if you're a self-help lover. Napoleon Hill, in his book called Outwitting the Devil, describes a meeting he had with his other self, which is kind of scary to think about, right? But I talk about it, the thoughts that you're having that aren't really yours. But he talks about the zero fear, the zero uncertainty. The other self is this thing that immediately comes up after a deep depression. But he realized that if he listened to every word that came up from his other self, no matter how bold or crazy it may be, he started to actually be upfront with it. He didn't want to question it at all. So that voice that told him if he did this with certainty, that he knew that he'd want to meet this person in the future. So maybe it was like a financial thing, or a thing about publishing a book, or maybe it was a thing about publishing a podcast. He realized that he needed to do it. And if he didn't do it, then he would pay for it later on. So he gave himself an opportunity to log in ideas that he had on his head and to write them down and then take those thoughts and listen to them later. So what I've learned, though, from Napoleon Hill is that you got to make a decision. You got to make a decision, though, while you're in peak state. So I make my decisions after I work out. Or I make my decisions after I've had some heavy breathing or gone through something hard. Because I don't second guess it. I just make the decision, I do it. And I take immediate action. Actually, I'm recording this podcast because I just worked out. And I'm not thinking too hard about taking action. I'm just doing it. And I want to just point out that it's these peak states that your decisions will be stronger. You'll just go into it without a bunch of edited thoughts. You'll just go for it. And making commitment means that you're seeing it through to the end. It means you're leaving yourself with no escape routes. You're sort of burning the bridges, as Tony Robbins may say. So, where decisions are made is in a single moment. Commitment to seeing those decisions into the future, especially when life gets difficult. So you gotta resolve means, as again Tony Robbins may say. And it's done inside your heart, though. Therefore, it's done in the real world. When you follow your heart, when you follow that one decision that you're confused about at one point, you got to make a system that works. So the system for me is taking one hand, placing it on the chest, and putting the other hand on the stomach, and breathing into it. And you'll know whether it's true or not. You'll know. Most people have an incredibly weak relationship with their truth. And that's okay. You're not alone if you do. But this is why you can take responsibility and learn how to grow it. But you don't want to keep doubting yourself because that becomes a habit. When you can't trust yourself to do what you tell yourself you're going to do tomorrow, it becomes a habit. And let's face it, there are some things that you don't want to make a habit. And that's that I'll do it tomorrow habit. It's not bad to make plans, it's good. But we as humans, we love making plans. We make plans way too much. Way too much. And I get it. It's a thing we kind of like to do. Our brains are actually wired for making plans. But the challenge to anyone is really hearing the deeper message. That's the challenge. It's being able to go, yeah, I had a plan to do that, and I'm going to go with it. So many people, after listening to this, will think I'm being a little, I don't know, eccentric maybe, or they'll quickly dismiss this and they'll go, whatever, this wasn't written for me. However, if you're feeling that this wasn't for you, but I want to say to you, if you're feeling something inside of you, wanting to be more in life, having a personal challenge for yourself, just make a decision today and stick with it. Just do one. It doesn't have to be huge. Small investments. Commit to doing that thing. And then do it again and again. Commitment is defined by making a pledge or binding a plan and actually turning that plan into a behavioral act. So, for example, one study I found is that people who made a public commitment, so by writing it on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, or maybe actually calling a friend and saying, hey, I'll give you $10. Take this $10, and if I don't produce this material, then you keep this $10. And commit to it. Make it happen. But maybe money's not a thing that you are good at. Maybe it's money that's just, it doesn't mean anything to you. But embarrassment means everything to you. So, that's where it comes in handy, is when you make a public outing. When you publicly commit that you're going to do it. By mentioning it on Facebook. By telling a bunch of people that you'll do this thing. And if you don't, well, then people may point and laugh. And you know you don't want this. So make as many public appointments with yourself as possible. By putting yourself out there, that's why people that are writers, that are podcasters, that are YouTubers, speakers, those people that are marketing themselves as much as possible are the ones that are, not all of them, but a lot of them, are actually inspiring you right now. Why? Because they've made the commitment public. So, anyways, if this at all, I don't know, maybe change your day or maybe made you think a little bit harder, please hit that subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me. And honestly, I was always told that if you bring yourself by sharing something and bringing someone up when you're feeling down is honestly the best way to feel up again. So, if you hit that subscribe button, you would be doing me a huge, huge favor because it will help this podcast get a little bit more attention and raise awareness and true change in people. So, thank you so much, and don't ever forget, you matter and you're enough.